Live then.
Love it.
Oh man, what a life we live in.
Get the sniffies out.
After we unmute ourselves? Really, Glenn?
Oh, was that afterwards? Hey.
You said get the sniffles out, so I was like just really working it out.
Yeah, I was just throwing off. Throwing
Well-
off cam. No biggie.
I mean, I do have a snot rocket I could probably get for anybody that wants to sub. Actually, no, we're not affiliates yet on here. So I guess a
Snot
follower.
rocket. Snot rocket.
Did I say that right or no?
I've never heard of that.
Loogie.
You
Oh,
never
I've
heard
that.
of
Snot rocket?
somebody closing their nostril and then trying to blow out of their nose?
Oh, okay. I got you. I thought you were saying you had a snot rocket, like it was a device that did something, and I was like, I don't know. That sounds a little dangerous, man.
The
Yuck.
FBI mucus department's like, all right, stand down, stand down. He means something. Oh God, it's a biological weapon.
Yeah, get down.
It's a snot rocket.
All right, how's everybody feeling?
Great.
I can survive for a little bit longer, I think. Oh, nice. Someone's racing, dude.
It's all the Armenians. They have super nice cars, and they just blast them up and down my street.
Nice.
It's great for audio content. Occasionally, we'll be playing D&D, and suddenly it's like, wow, rocket-powered horse car comes burning by.
Casual Master Quest coming to you live from the Indy 500.
Or we're just playing Eberron, then everything is explainable,
Airships. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna roll up to the top of the show notes, get the chat thing ready. All right. Episode 80, the last episode of the season. Hey, ain't that something, Cam? This is your second end of the season appearance. I don't know if that's cursed or not. Maybe I'll just invite you every 20 episodes.
All that matters, did the episode do well?
True. Okay. Is everybody ready then?
Yeah.
1000%.
All right. Final vapes, I guess just me in this case. Tangents and thoughts before we get started. And Glenn, don't panic when I ask this. Do you have like a fan or anything running in the background, or is it just from your gain that I'm hearing?
It might be some gain. Am I loud enough? Do you think I could drop it a little bit just to?
I
Sounds
think
fine to me.
Okay, then it's just me being anal, so don't worry about it.
Because I can also turn the noise gate up just a little bit and voice meter to make sure that it doesn't just sit there for too long if there's some ambient back noise.
I could give like a bunch of wild reasons or things of what I hear, but it's nothing bad. It's just we should start.
Yeah, because when I'm not talking, it's at 0. It's just going. Whoop.
Yeah, I have a latent negative 57 background noise. Usually that stuff I just gate out afterwards, though.
Five seconds of silence. Oh ho, holy shit, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Casual Master Quest. Today is going to be episode 80, the final episode of this season, and 'tis the season to be Holly. But let's not be Holly with our wonderful folks, with myself, Tyler Vidito. We got Glenn over in the corner representing the rebels of the Star Wars thing, which is going to show how ignorant I am over the Star Wars universe. It's Star Wars, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Rebel Alliance.
Okay. Maybe a Star Trek. Okay. And I'm getting like the head shake of shame from our guest for this week, and that is Cam, returning back from the retro episodes of like the beginning. Gab, you're back for
Yo,
an
am I
episode.
retro now?
You're I think you're retro.
You've
Oh,
become cool.
Sweet.
I think the last time we heard you on the show, you were over 60 episodes ago. So
Yeah.
you're 60 episodes old. I think that makes you a podcast antique on here.
Sweet. Now a bunch of hipsters can buy me at comic stores.
Ooh, and it will be vintage. Oh man. What a heck of a time so far. And man, it's December. It's gonna be Christmas when people listen to this. This is crazy. And not Christmas, but it'll be Christmas time. Maybe they'll
Very close.
if they're ambitious enough, I guess they could download it and listen to it on their way to their family. Thinking, it's like, what better time than, regretting the joys of family get-togethers than by listening to us. But, man, Cam, how's your, well, I was going to say year at this point. It's been well over a year. How you doing?
Yeah. Since I was last on here, actually, I moved to Vermont, did a bunch of work, and then moved back. So pretty much status quo now.
So, was it like one of those Mormon things where it's like you got to step out of your bubble when you hit 18, and then you got to decide if you're going to go back for good? Or sorry, not Mormon, Amish. I believe
Amish,
the
yeah,
Amish.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was more of just like I saw an opportunity that was for a neat job that was part-time so I could play a bunch of video games. I went and did it, and I skied a lot, I hiked a lot. It was a lot of fun, but it was very rural. There was nobody around to hang out with, and everybody I associated with was like 60. So I was like, nah, and came back to Rhode Island.
Nah, nah.
Oh man, the Phoenix, Arizona effect of everybody being old as shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nations.
not to be ageist, but it's like can't beat their ass in Super Smash Brothers.
Right.
I mean,
right.
you can, but you'll.
And if they
feel-
beat your ass, then you got something to worry about.
Yeah, there's nobody to talk about the Vita with either. It's crazy.
What
I
is a
mean,
Vita?
Well,
I go ahead.
glad you asked, Glenn. You
Oh,
see,
no.
the PlayStation Vita is a wonderful
Cue the
little
music.
console. I'm not gonna do it to you. Don't worry. You're all set.
Oh man, I had the folk music at the ready suddenly there. Man. So
Want to talk
you've-
about an antique? Oh,
Oh well, fair.
ha ha. Glenn, you're so funny. We're gonna trash an episode where we trash talk the Vita. No, I won't do that because
I'll cry.
I'm gonna say I have my
Don't
beloved
cry.
Vita still framed to the wall.
Ooh.
As a talk piece, which actually upsets the person that gave it to me. Nicholas in the chat. He's been really burnt the moment I framed that sucker on the wall. But yeah, hey, 1 year anniversary of a wall painting. So it's been a hell of a year for you. How's your December been going?
Awesome. Yeah, it's been going really good because December is the point where, like, in my own work and stuff like that, I'm through all the review games I have to do. So I'm through all the
Mhm.
major releases, so I can actually go and play kind of what I want to. So I have a series of like a few games that I always play every December. And so I've just been getting to that, playing some comfy stuff, kind of like that. Very simple stuff, no more work, pretty much, just all fun.
Hell yeah. Oh, by the way, I think we confirmed this. You can also swear now, so feel free to swear as much as you want within
Oh,
reason.
hell yeah. All right, cool.
Hell yeah! I was gonna say I know we waited for the countdown and then we started saying shit fuck and like immediately 30 seconds and then we just went back to normal. But things changed.
Yep.
And I think for me it's like every year I have to play and beat Link to the Past. It's kind of like and plus it's on the Switch, so it works out.
Yeah.
Easy enough. What about you, Glenn? What's your week been like?
been a busy week. Didn't do as much streaming as I wanted to because I got booked on a commercial just doing like PA work. But it was really cool. I can't talk about what it is because it hasn't come out. But like, we shot at a place called Fonco Studios, where this guy named Fawn, haha, he also has a bunch of other smaller businesses that work the place with him.
Okay.
And he and some of his constituents have done miniature model work, which, if you know me, is something I love for the prequels I saw some of the original TIE fighter and TIE interceptor models that were used in 4, 5, and 6.
Oh wow.
Uh,
Nice.
and like I saw set pieces from The Nightmare Before Christmas. If you're a D&D fan, I saw the original sculpting of the Stone of Galore from the Dragon Heist, Waterdeep Dragon Heist that just came out. Um, and one of the guys has a mocap studio there who is a lightsaber master who learned from the guys who were the guys who choreographed the Duel of Fates and were Ewan McGregor and all those guys. One of them was actually Christopher Lee's stunt double. And so like I got to meet some really cool people and have a lot of fun and make some money so I could buy my wife because I'm a streamer and I'm not a partner, so I don't make a lot of money, but that was a way to make some money. I got my wife some Christmas presents, so that was great. I was able to make some coin. But also, one of my friends on set wanted to try my PlayStation VR. He may be getting it, so I'll have someone to play it with.
The
And we're
PSVR?
gonna try. What's that?
Did you say the PSVR?
Yeah. We're gonna try. He's gonna see if he likes it, and I think he will. And then we're gonna get Arizona Sunshine, which is a multiplayer, VR shooter where you survive the zombie apocalypse and run around. It looks like a lot of fun. So
I don't
yeah.
think I heard of that game.
It
And
came out in
Pretty
like
well reviewed.
2016, 2017, but it's great. Yeah, it's only like $40, and both expansions together are like $7.50. So you can spend less than $50 on it with both
Huh.
expansions. So
when
yeah.
I think
And I
of,
saw The Rise of Skywalker last night, so it's just been a Star Wars couple of days. Watched the new episode of The Mandalorian this morning.
wow,
We've already
jeez.
pre-ordered the Baby Yoda pop.
Oh, Glenn. Sorry, my
What?
wife and I solemnly agreed that we would mute and ban anybody that keeps posting Yoda memes, Baby Yoda memes specifically. Adult Yoda or previous Yoda, whatever you want to call it, is acceptable, but she hates
Yaddle's
Baby Yoda.
okay too.
Wait, what's up?
Yaddle, the female of that species.
Oh
that
yeah,
is in
don't
this
forget
episode.
Yaddle.
Yeah.
I don't think that gets represented just as much. Baby Yoda has I believe the term was it became more represented on the internet than the entire U.S. government or something like that.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It overlapped everything that's been going on politically, which is kind of scary. But I mean,
I've only found one meme that I really loved, and it's just Kylo Ren yelling, but it's not Kylo, it's the actor in the film that he just did with Scarlett Johansson, and he's like, the Mandalorian is a side story. And he's like, I am Star Wars now. he's like, I could wipe out a fleet of Mandalorians. I'm a Sith Lord. He's like, you're an emo with a light sword. At the end, he's like, I'm Fusty, and I'm like, yes, Baby Yoda. But I love Baby Yoda. My wife goes,
does Baby Yoda talk in The Mandalorian?
nope.
Okay, I've not seen The Mandalorian, and I have not seen the new Star Wars movie yet. Gonna be doing that with
No
Nick.
spoilers.
Thank you. Gonna be hanging out with Nick and going to see that sometime this week, so that's something to look forward to. Also, if I could give a PSA to everybody on Twitter about Star Wars, and I had to do this with Game of Thrones. Look, I'm trying to mute every fucking word I can think of Star Wars to keep you all from spoiling it. Can you... Look, I understand if you want to do hashtags and all that stuff just to mess with my muted word list, but pick either between Rise of Skywalker or The Rise of Skywalker. You're killing me, because it's like, before I know, I'm gonna look for DA Rise of Skywalker, and it's like
The Rise of
The Rise.
like I'm finding different words I have to mute because it's like somebody meant somebody added an extra A somewhere for some reason, and it's like, what the fuck, guys?
I'm just waiting for the hashtag to actually just be the spoiler and it's trending in the US so everyone sees it.
Yeah.
Oh,
See, I like when people, if they're gonna put spoilers, they like hide the tweet and you have to choose to click it.
Yeah.
Like that's totally fine, Or they're like, spoilers, don't scroll down, and you go, okay, cool, thanks. I'm tempted to if I want to have a discussion about it on social media, just be like, hey, DM me if you want to talk about it,
Yeah, that's totally acceptable. Once you get in a closed group where everybody consensually agrees to talk about something that's typically spoiler intensive, such as a Star Wars movie, which shocker, Yeah, go wild. Yeah, it's a circle jerk at that point.
Yep.
So a hot question. Let's say Chatty McChadface decides to post whatever the most intensive Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker spoiler there is, and he has 100,000 followers, and he just posts like, "Hey, by the way, something
Blah
happens,"
blah
and
blah. Yeah.
everybody sees it. What happens? Is that reportable for spoiling a movie? So
He's gonna lose a lot of followers probably.
okay, so Chatty McChadface would just be a massive douche, but it wouldn't be violating anything that would be on the Twitter side.
Yeah, someone might like throw a brick through his window, but that's about it.
Yeah, but I
True.
mean, the thing about it, if he's Chatty McChadface, he's probably already followed by a bunch of Chads. So those Chads are like, look at all these turds getting mad about their nerdy Star Wars. So like, how much ramifications is the guy gonna get from a dude who's already a Chad? It
Yeah,
sucks, but
it's the nature of the beast.
yeah, I mean, you constantly have like around this time, like last year and this year, you've had like people being like, please, like stars in the films are like, please don't spoil this for people. You know, this is a story, 9 movies in the making. Do not spoil this. You know, so I'm doing my
and,
best to do that.
and
And
meanwhile,
it's
we
always fun for
have
the fans.
fucking like Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo, and they're like, yeah, they all
They
die, don't
literally
they?
lie to them in production so that they don't spill the beans on accident.
Smart move.
It's such a weird like end of the thing where it's like they have no self-awareness that they should, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't tweet this scene where somebody important dies, and it's like hashtag Iron Man dies. But
Yeah. Well,
oh
it
wait,
was,
is
they
that
actually
too
did a
soon?
funny commercial about that too, with spoilers, with Daisy Ridley, where somebody was like, she was doing a promo or something. Obviously, it was super planned, and then this guy comes on set and he's like, "Hey, so Daisy, so you're gonna tell me this, and this," and then they have this bunch of A-list actors coming in at the end. John Boyega comes and he's like, "Hey, who's Ray's parents?" And she's like, "John, you know." And he's like, "Oh, right," and then he walks out. So it's really funny. I was like, at least they can make fun of themselves a little bit there, you know. But it was good too because my wife's birthday is today, so we got to see, a Star Wars movie when we also started dating on May the 4th, Star Wars Day, right before her birthday. So that was a lot of fun.
So how did that go? Like, let's say it was like May 2nd, and you guys are getting ready like to do the deed and tie the knot. That is really, you're like, we gotta wait 2 days before we make it official.
No, we actually met like a week or so before that.
Okay,
I think so. May the 4th, there would have been, yeah, we met like 3 days, 3 or 4 days before my birthday, which is on the 29th of April.
okay.
And then, so we were dating within about a week, 10 days ish. And then I was like, we're dating official on Facebook. And then I was like, wait, it's May the 4th. Ha ha! Like, unintentional nerd win.
That's awesome. Uh, like the only thing I got going on is I the only reason why I remember our anniversary is November 1st, because on our first date that marked our November 1st is we immediately went to Walmart and started buying Halloween costumes for half off, and that's the only reason why. Like I have a banana suit that I treasure to this day that marks the beginning of our relationship, because we went in there, bought like, also I was dressed in a full on business suit. And she's like, "What the fuck is going on?" I'm like, "I want to impress you for my first date." And she's like, "I'm
It's
in
a
a
job
t-shirt."
interview, don't you know?
Yeah. This is the application process, honey. Can I call you that? That's the first question. Uh, Pretty good. So
Seems like it
for
went pretty well, yeah.
yeah, 6 7 years later, we're doing hot. Uh, so something weird happened over on my mother's end. She's living by herself over in undisclosed location here. That way I don't have the rabid fanboys go after her. And she has been wanting to play some video games. This is her first time in the wild living by presumably herself. And she miss it. She used to play video games with me when I was a kid. Back in the PlayStation 1, Super Nintendo era, we would play, Crash Team Racing together. We'd take turns playing Spyro, Super Mario World. And she's missing it. She's been wanting to play it for the holidays, and I decided that I wanted to help her out. The problem with that is she first said Donkey Kong Country and Super Mario World, which you know, which was surprising because Donkey Kong Country is hard as shit after like the first world, especially for somebody who's never played video games before. And so I'm like, okay, so I got two easy options technically, and then we can go into a plethora of dark deeds. The first one was getting her a SNES Classic. Problem with that though is being Christmas time, not only are they sold out, you can find them on Amazon with Prime for triple the price.
Ooh.
We're talking like $150, $180. And it's like, I love my mom. I love her. But it would break my heart playing triple the retail price for this thing. And it's like, I keep telling, just get her a Raspberry Pi. She'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And the other option was to get her a Nintendo Switch. Problem is though, since she doesn't have internet yet, she wouldn't be able to really use the online. She'd have to go to a fucking McDonald's just so she can get a Super Nintendo, the collection.
Yeah.
And other games that she mentioned was Spyro and CTR and stuff. And so I'm thinking, well, there's no physical way for me to get her that except for one, because of weird circumstances of nostalgia being done by a lot of people. And so I made a very weird jump and hooked my mom up with a PlayStation 4. I don't even think she's seen a PS3 before. She might have owned a PS2 back in the day for the DVD player, but to give her what is technically a current gen console really scared me because I didn't know what kind of power I was giving her with it. And last I knew, she hasn't like full on left the house since she got it, and I'm really scared now.
She's been doing duos in Fortnite this whole time, just killing kids. Just killing kids. She's out there dabbing and stuff, just like
She's gonna be the new gaming grandma. Like she's just gonna like own the internet. Like
Oh jeez.
that's amazing.
Well, I would love to live that dream. Like I said, she doesn't have internet, so maybe doing like land parties or some shit. I don't. But
Oh my god.
I
What
kind of
games
want
did
to.
you hook her up with too with it?
So the bundle, there's a special deal where it comes with God of War, The Last of Us, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Which
Oh man, what a good bundle.
it was a
Holy
holiday
crap.
bundle and it sold ridiculous numbers.
I believe it. Well, Last of Us got one game of the decade, didn't it?
I'm sure it did
From some
somewhere.
outlets.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
The problem is
Wow.
though, my mom probably won't play a shooter game, or a first person aim kind of game. So Horizon Zero Dawn and The Last of Us might fall short on her. Plus,
Mhm.
if I'm a chicken shit about horror games, I get it from my mom, and she has it like twofold. So, I like even God of War she might try, but it'll probably be intimidating for her. So I didn't expect her to play those games. In fact, I have no idea. Are those games actually pre-downloaded or are they codes?
In that bundle, I would
Yeah.
assume they're codes.
Yeah.
Which means she can't even download them right now, which sucks. So what's probably going to happen is I'm going to ask her for those codes, and maybe I'll like buy her a third game or something like that, and just either
You should
trade
get,
them
like
off.
the
Or...
Spyro collection or something like that. Like something like that would be a really cool game. It sounds
Yeah.
like because that's one of the games you guys played together, right?
Right. So the two games I actually bought for her in conjunction for
Oh, here we
this
go.
was
Sorry.
the Spyro trilogy, the HD collection,
is.
which she played the hell out of the first one and she loved the third one. She hasn't played Ripto Rage. And I also got her CTR Nitro Refueled or whatever it's called.
Yep.
So she is living, the 2000 or sorry, technically in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
I think
Late
I'm gonna say
90s?
late 90s. She's reliving, 20 years ago all over again, and
My heart will go on.
she loves the shit out of it. And Nick in the chat is correcting me. Those aren't first-person games, Tyler. Those are, in fact, third-person games for Last of Us and all that. You're right. I'm sorry. I was going to say screw you, but I want you to actually come visit. So, yeah, it's been a hell of a time. My mom's bonding over video games, and I'm afraid she's going to come see me and kick my ass with, like, Tiny Tiger or some shit. And just to see how that's going to go. I wrapped up Christmas planning, which was interesting. I got buy the last bits of stuff for everybody, and I am nearly broke. It is almost scary to say that, but like I hit the point to where it's like, do I want to spend money on this? You know, where it's like when you're hitting the end of the buffet where it's like, I could eat this, but should I? Should I?
Always. You got to get your money's worth, dude. The buffet, you just go wild, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely,
you need 5
yes.
servings,
Okay.
and you need to drink
Yeah.
7 sodas, or they don't lose any money.
If you're not
Yeah.
in the bathroom afterwards, you lose.
Yeah.
I say if you don't need to clean your pinky, then something happened. Like you goofed up. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Galaxy brain evil.
That's
No.
dangerous.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not supporting bulimia. That's terrible. I goofed up saying that.
Oh, I didn't get it. I was like,
I
are
thought you were
like-
going somewhere
are you
else
like-
too. You gotta.
I thought you were like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. What are you
Gotta
doing
clean
with
it
your
out, dude.
pinky?
Oh,
He's going to the
Oh.
cleaners.
That's
Oh
what
my
I thought. I
God.
was like, you.
What?
I mean, I've heard of a green thumb before, but a brown pinky.
oh my God, guys.
You put that. You inceptioned that into our brains. You.
Listen, it's not our faults that our mind goes to pinky and butthole. Okay, that's just a symptom of the times, really.
Maybe this is one of those Freudian tests at that point. You're like, or the level of psychology. It's like you develop like maybe an oral attraction versus at different times of year versus I think it's anal very early on, and I think you guys stuck at heart at a certain point in life, all pun intended. And
Well, no, hold on. I don't know if you want to do anal very early on. That's an entirely different.
in some states that's illegal. As Beto, hi Beto, I believe he's one of your cool cats, right?
He's one of my
Yeah.
boys. That's Zegan.
Yeah,
Wait, Vito?
Beto guy.
Oh,
He's
Vito.
in the chat. He's saying we're all children here, which is a very dangerous thing to say.
It is. It does not make it not true.
I missed what he
But-
said. What'd he say?
We are all children here.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay. So we're gonna press on because this is in fact. I'm getting scared because something's going on over on Cam's side and it's freaking me the fuck out.
Is it
Okay.
one of those things where I'm like going,
Sure.
We saved a clip of one of our streams once, Cam, where I just like kept talking, but my video froze and then looped on me going, it was, and they just like, Nick and him just started cracking up. And I was like, what is going on? And they're like, we have to clip this. It was pretty great.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm okay. I'm scared. So this is a video game podcast, shocker. So we probably should be talking
Is
about
it?
video. Well, I mean, we talked about Okay, yes. I should say for the record, we talked about it last episode. I just want to give a quick update. I got the fucking shiny Charmander, and
Woo! I saw it on Twitter. I retweeted it.
I got the fucking shiny Charmander. I immediately traded it to my wife, and she's happy. My head remains intact. I don't have to shave my fucking head. I don't need to wonder trade off my beloved perfect IV Pikachu.
That was the wager.
That was a bit forced, but yes.
Oh, man.
Either I get her a shiny Charmander by Christmas, or I do all sorts of atrocities, and it wouldn't.
Was shiny
Yeah.
hunting and Sword and Shield one of them?
One
Yes.
of the options was that he just had to keep doing it, and even past the odds.
I
You
mean,
know,
talk
'cause
about
the
an
odds were 1
atrocity,
in
but-
512. Yeah.
It might as
Forcing
well.
someone to shiny hunt. Around the circle you go, hatch more eggs, boy. No.
Can you imagine, Cam? You're finally starting to wrap up. You're having a good time with Pokemon, but you're seeing that maybe it's time that you're going to slow down, stop it.
I couldn't
and maybe,
imagine that. No.
No, I figured as much, but I figured maybe there was a shot in the dark here. I was finally gonna put the game down and actually go and play something else. I was wanting to play Death Stranding, a little bit more than that. I put it down.
See the collector's edition behind you.
Oh,
See the little
yeah.
baby right there. Baby back
Baby.
there.
That's a little baby. But I made a commitment that I announced that I was going to give up on, aka getting the shiny Charmander to give to my wife for Christmas. And that fuck who can't defend himself right now because he's on the other side of the world because he decided to travel for the
Bye.
holidays, decided to initiate a challenge alongside Glenn, who will happily goad on anything that doesn't affect him directly, to actually continue with this. Otherwise, I get shamed to hell and back. And
Nice.
It was awesome.
so I had to spend, another 10, 15, 20 hours to get this fucking Pokemon, and it sucked, and I hated it. And I have not touched Pokemon since. It scared me off. I got my first shiny in 20 years, so I'm happy. So
Yeah, now you can just put it away and like wash your hands, right? You're all set.
You're good.
yeah, I could. Since look, competitive play looks like dog shit right now, so
It sure does.
so I think I'm gonna stay away from that, especially considering like the one game mechanic that's supposed to define it, the Dynamaxing, was agreed upon by most competitive players. It should be banned. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah, it was
They're banning the
quite
1 year
broken.
feature?
Yeah, the Dynamax
really?
and Gigantamaxing got banned on Smogon, which is like where the competitive tiers kind of come from, because it was
Mhm.
just way too unbalanced. It was getting to the point where a single Pokemon could paralyze like a third of your team, which is usually against that rule set. And some Pokemon had usage stats that were much higher than Landorus T last generation, and he was supposed to be taken out because of how bad he was and stuff like that. Everyone was complaining about that. Now we have like 7 or 8 with usage stats that high. Sword and Shield meta is like, ugh.
It's
Yeah.
intimidating. I got the
Yeah.
team. I got half of them properly EV trained. Actually, I got 4 of the 6 properly EV trained all set up. But it's like I'm looking at it in the game itself. Even if you're just playing by yourself against like the battle tower, you only use 3 Pokemon, 4 if you're doing 2v2. So it's like there's no point having a whole team unless you want to go for versatility. And
Mm.
I'm scared to go online, and it's just going to be everybody with that fucking legendary dragon, poison dragon, and it's just like, what's the point? They're gonna Dynamax, they're gonna tear through me, and it's like I just want to have fun, and I don't see it happening. But yeah,
Yeah, that's why you got to do things like Showdown, where you can just pre-make your team in a second.
Hell
Let
yeah.
people actually like kind of know what they're doing and stuff, and yeah, you can play in the tiers and all that good.
I love just doing like random battling back in the day. Pokemon
Mhm.
Showdown is like a very underappreciated resource for people who just want to play Pokemon battles, and it stinks that they don't get the chance to actually play it. But if anybody wants to, they're like, what the fuck we're talking about? Go Google Pokemon Showdown, try it. It's free, and you'll love it.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Hmm.
It's what every competitive player uses. Like when they play in actual leagues and stuff like that, they train on Pokemon Showdown. It's just optimal.
Yep, it's what I did when I wanted to train for to be a gym leader on a Pokemon Minecraft server. Gym leader.
Yeah, nice. I'm doing one of those right now, playing Pixelmon actually.
Are you really? What
Yeah,
server are you
actually,
playing?
it's Vito's server. He's in chat.
Oh shit. Well, shout out to Beto's Pixelmon server.
So
Nice.
So, Cam, what have you been playing this week? It looks like you
Oh,
have
boy.
a hell of an assortment.
yeah, and this isn't everything either. This is just kind of the important stuff, because there's plenty of stuff that was smaller that I tried out just for a couple of points of conversation. Beat Death Stranding. So once that was kind of over, that was when I lasted. There were like review games. I could move to my comfy December game. So I'm playing Empire at War, Star Wars Empire at War, mods of that, obviously. Playing some Minecraft, Pixelmon, obviously. Beat Halo Reach and playing Skyrim. And then also playing some Neverwinter Nights, which is actually an enhanced
What
edition
the?
I picked up on Switch. Yeah, it's
Oh,
the enhanced
Nice.
edition.
That's
I
right.
picked it up
That
on
came out
Switch.
recently.
I'm not sure how recently the Switch version came out, is the only thing, but basically how it works is GameStop right now, where I live in Rhode Island, has a test market program, which is a rental service through GameStop, and you can rent new games there and switch them out, but you can only rent new. So I had Death Stranding out, decided what I wanted to switch it for. I was looking for the Somnium Files on Switch actually, but I wanted a Switch game, and I just ended up settling on Neverwinter because I'm like, hey, Christmas, all right, winter that works, Neverwinter, cool,
Christmas Forever.
yeah.
Checks out.
Yeah, but the big one has been just finishing Death Stranding. That in the last like week, that was the really big one. Obviously, the rest are just
Oh
kind of like
man,
ongoing. Like, yeah, I've played this a bunch. I play it every December. No big deal.
I I totally feel it, man. I want to get back to Death Stranding, but I feel like it's like I need a fucking week off. I just want to just sit there and play and burn through it. But it feels like if I try to play that for more than 5 hours, I'm gonna get like mentally bogged.
Yeah, that was I think this year, maybe in the last few years, that was the most challenging game for me, not from a sense of difficulty, but from a sense of like challenging myself, I guess, where that game was not at all catered towards things I like. It was actually subjectively a lot of things I dislike, but I was able to recognize the like kind of more so objective quality in it and respect that. So I'm kind of playing it to see that and removing myself from the situation. So that was the really hard part for me was kind of being like, okay, I know I don't like these things, but I see how well they're made and
Right.
kind of bounce a couple hours at a time and really get through it was the challenging part for me for sure.
I guess the big
Trying to find
question
the
is,
art in it.
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
do you think that like the majority of people like it? The things
Uh,
that you're not feeling?
I think it's definitely like that's a game where I expect maybe 10% of the people who buy it to actually finish it. And it's honestly the more coherent of Kojima's stories. Once you get to the actual endpoint and you hear everything, it explains itself pretty well compared to any Metal Gear Solid game. Honestly, I think I think most people it's kind of divisive, and even amongst critics, it's divisive. So I can't really say that most people will like it. I think it's actually going to be pretty split based on what you like. You know, if you can sit back and enjoy like Amazon delivery, obviously. That's the joke. But if you can really sit back and enjoy that gameplay, like you do get access to more tools later on, and those let you handle things with much more care and much easier. But if you can't get through chapter three, that's the hard part right there. Is the chapter three of the game. Like if you kind of fall off at chapter three, you might not want to pick that up again.
Oh man, that's intimidating. I'm not sure what chapter I'm at actually. Here, I'll tell you where I'm at, which is going to be probably obscure as shit, and you'll be like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" I'm
Okay,
at
what have you? What city are you at? Actually, the best way to play it. We're done.
uh I don't know what the city is, but it's like the first actual city after you leave the main town.
Okay,
I was getting ready to I did the first outpost, I did the second outpost, and then I was about to deliver to the third outpost. Or
I
not
think that's
outpost, it was the
Lake
town.
Knot.
Yes.
Lake Knot City.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
Lake Knot. I think that is. I think that's before chapter three. Chapter
oh
three
boy.
gets you to this rocky terrain area, and it's the longest chapter by far. And not much story happens. You kind of just do a lot of deliveries back to back, and it gets grueling. The terrain's very annoying. There's a lot of big ravines that you can't cross easily unless you have equipment. So if you fall down them, you're done for a while. And you have to crawl yourself out. It's really just a like a big slog of a chapter.
Mhm.
That's good to know. Good. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
but it really goes fast because the thing that gets a lot of people is like that's chapter three, and of course people don't know what comes afterwards because every chapter afterwards is a lot quicker, and there's 15 chapters, so it's a long game.
Ugh.
It's like a for most 40-hour game for sure.
Okay. Okay. Uh anything else you've been playing to wrap up the end of the year?
No, just like I said, Star Wars. You know, I'm a big Star Wars mark myself, so I've been playing a lot of Empire War. Play that every holiday season. There's a lot of fun mods for that on Steam. Obviously, like Thrawn's Revenge is a really big one that overhauls the game. Of extended universe factions and things like that. So just that, and then Pokemon, of course, have been my mainstays last couple days.
I'm doing a quick test here because I noticed that things were getting a little bit choppy over in your end cam, and maybe it was the same when you were talking to me. You look a lot better now. On the
Yeah, you
plus
guys
side,
do
do.
too.
sorry about that. Oh man, Glenn,
Yeah.
can you give me your hot World of Warcraft classic update?
Well, I've not been on the PvP train as hard as some people. I think on my server Blame, um, the day I think it was the day the PvP came out because it's like it's been out for about 10 days to 2 weeks, something like that. So I've been
Okay.
playing it kind of off and on. Because Alterac Valley and uh the other one that's like basically capture the flag are both out. And I think the highest amount of honor in one day on the opening day on my server, somebody got 257,000 honor in a single day from the PvP.
That sounds like a lot. How much did you get
It's
in comparison?
I have gotten in total since those games came out somewhere around 40 or 50,000. So, but the thing about it is that it's always on a sliding scale based on the overall amount of honor that has been earned. So, like, I know somebody that got 100,000 honor, 120,000 honor in a week, and he barely climbed half of a rank because so many people have gotten honor that much honor really doesn't mean anything. It's a drop in a bucket.
So it's based
so-
off of you said sliding average essentially. So unless
Yeah.
people catch up with him, there's progress is going to be nerfed.
And everyone decays, so they don't play if you don't play over time. Like I'm up to rank 3, and I've got like something like 480 or 500 kills or something like that, plus the honor that I've earned with the factions through the PvP events. And then my buddy has somewhere in the range of 2,500 kills, and he is the same rank as me, just halfway through that rank. And I'm like, wow, okay, so it really is impossible to hit rank 14 in this unless you legitimately just grind the hell out of it. So that's been fun to play on and off just with friends. Obviously not trying for anything because I'm never going to be that dedicated. And then Stardew Valley, just really enjoying that because Stardew Valley I love the new update on it. He killed it. Also, I found the joy of the Scythe mod and being able to gather with the Scythe.
It's getting ported to Tesla, you know.
It is?
Yeah, it just came out today.
I saw that. I didn't understand what that meant when he tweeted that. I was like, they're porting it to Tesla. I saw Elon tweeted about Stardew Valley. What does that even mean?
Yeah, so the Tesla cars, the cars themselves, because they're working on like self-driving and technology such as that, they put Cuphead on it, and they're putting Stardew Valley on it as well. So it's something
What
where
the
you can
fuck?
actually play
Stardew
it.
on like the console?
Yeah, you play it in your car, in your Tesla.
That's not a distraction or anything.
It only works when you're stopped or if self-driving is on.
So what? Like, is there a controller in the wheel? So whenever you're at a red light, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get my fucking parsnips. Fuck this.
Yeah, I forget what the
Have a
controller
USB?
is, but
Yeah.
there's something. It's either USB
Maybe it's
or
like the
a
iPad
proprietary.
controls or something like that
Could be.
too.
Yeah.
Wow. I did
Wow.
not know what that meant, so thank you for clearing that up. I was like,
No
what
problem.
are you talking about, Elon? Are you high? Like, we're putting a game on the car. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, always. Yes, he's high always, but that doesn't mean that he's not doing those things also, you know?
Yeah.
True. That is true. Mine's
And lastly, I'm hoping to play soon and be able to kind of talk a little more about Arizona Sunshine because I have a friend who kind of brought it up to me, my buddy who I let borrow the PlayStation VR. So if he gets the VR, I will also get Arizona Sunshine and play that with him and hopefully be able to give a little bit of review on it because from everything I've seen, I think we talked a little earlier, Cam, you said it's a pretty well-reviewed game.
Yeah.
So
Haven't played it myself, but I remember when I got my PSVR, my friends and I were talking back and forth about it as an option. So
yeah.
it would be nice to get me interested back in the PSVR for a gaming reason because I'm sick of using PSVR to watch virtual reality porn because that's all it's been used for, and it's frustrating. It's amazing.
Oh, man.
Is Incredible Darkness that Sony's like, yeah, I guess you can do it.
It is the most comfortable VR headset I've ever worn. It is fantastic, the design on it.
That's good because that's the only one I've worn so far. I kind of wanted to get my hands on the Oculus, but see what that's like, especially the Oculus Go.
Yeah, I was gonna say because they have hand mapping now, so you don't even have to have controls. It just looks at your hands and then sees what they're doing and does that in game.
That could be dangerous depending on the game, I guess. The way you did this, and it's like, okay, I'm interested.
Listen,
I just remember when I turned on No Man's Sky with the VR port, and I played it day one, and it was terrible for the VR. But like, I remember grabbing it and holding because I have the Move controllers, and I squeezed the triggers, and it went and I was like,
Honk honk.
So I probably do need to get back on that and play it again because I love No Man's Sky. But I also found out that apparently, if you want to have, because there's issues with the old save files in No Man's Sky, and if you want to not deal with those issues, you have to restart a new save.
Mm.
And I'm like, really? What's the point of porting it over and allowing it to be all shared if I've got 300 hours in this character and now I got to restart? I've got all S tier ships with an S tier freighter and 900 things that I can send out in like 15 planets with giant bases on them. And now I got to restart so I can play in VR, or I can just play with the giant 90-inch screen and just with my controller. You know, like I don't know.
So,
don't know.
Glenn, let me ask: when did you get on No Man's Sky? Like, were there from the beginning, or did you go with the next update, or where was it?
2016. Yeah,
wow,
I
okay.
was one of the early guys. Yeah, because it launched with the PlayStation. It was a launch title, right?
It was with the VR of the PlayStation. You mean?
I think it was a PS4 launch title, wasn't it?
No, because I remember it being shown off at PlayStation Experience for like 3 years before it actually came out. I think it was 2015 or 16 it first came out.
Okay, yeah. I just remember I liked it, but it was pretty
when it had
frustrating.
the problems and the
and the
devs
next came out,
saying
it was like,
things. Yeah.
yes.
Well, that's been a huge redemption story.
It
that
is
whole thing.
the best. It's like my favorite football team is Kansas State
Yeah.
University. They were called Futility U for a long time, the worst college football team in the history of college football, and Bill Snyder had the best turnaround in college football history. That is No Man's Sky in the
Yeah.
video game world.
You got to give respect.
Unbelievably. Yeah.
So
And now they have cities and people are making music.
Mhm.
They have music making machines in the game. So people are like crafting like No Man's Sky beats. And I'm just like, yes.
Lo-fi
Yeah.
hip hop beats made in No Man's Sky. That's good
Yeah,
stuff.
it's like
right there.
techno beats. It's almost got a little bit of a
Beats to explore planets too.
like Cyberpunk or Tron Legacy sort of
Yeah.
feel to it. Yeah.
So if you had to pick between these following two games for the best redemption story of the decade, there might be more contenders if you can think of. So far, I got No Man's Sky and Destiny.
FF14 as a contender.
Okay,
Mhm.
yep, a fantasy or a Realm Reborn was another
Realm
good
Reborn
one.
specifically, because the whole story there was it launched as Final Fantasy 14 as a 1.0, and the
Mhm.
game was so bad and it was such a problem that they
That they
actually
nuked it,
recalled it, made it again, and released it. Like they actually
That's
just
the one where
remade
they
the
like
entire
drove
game.
around in the car and stuff, right?
They did do that at one point for like a marketing.
There was a
campaign, if
car?
I remember right.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it for the sake of the story they
Oh,
showed what?
You're talking about in the game. No, that's 15. I think you're thinking of.
That was
When they're-
15? Okay.
Yeah, 14.
See, I haven't played any Final Fantasy since 10. So it's been a minute.
I thought you were talking about
I
the
remember
FF14 marketing campaign, and I was like, yeah, I think they might have taken a car around once they were launching. I know there were a couple events where.
Yeah.
So, if I remember correctly, they showed 14 a Realm Reborn by showing, hey, this is what happened in the first game, but then like
Yeah.
a fucking meteor happened. That's all gone. Don't worry, guys. They're all dead, maybe.
Yep.
So here's
They
everything
canonically,
new.
they canonically ended the world in the first version of Final Fantasy 14. They lost, like all the characters lost. They ended the world and then started it again for Realm Reborn. But it was the same game, just remade entirely, and that's a redemption story. I think that's worthy of consideration for sure.
Is that like the video game equivalent of what happened with the dinosaurs? Then like dinosaur made, and we're like, Jesus Christ, these things are everywhere, and they're just shitting at it. Okay. Comment button. There goes comment, and then boom, they're gone.
If they made dinosaurs too, if they then after the comet made dinosaurs again but cooler,
The
then
dinosaurs reborn.
that'd be sick.
That's how we got Cam. What's the term? Sentai?
What do you think?
Power Rangers for the dummies.
Sentai.
Sentai. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, where are you going with this? Yeah, that's how Zyuranger happened.
I was gonna say dinosaurs, but mecha form.
I have
Anyway,
all of the original Zords back in my house in Kansas.
Those are worth a lot of money. Just a heads
No,
up.
they're not really.
Yeah.
I even
I
have
sold,
the turtle and the tiger and the falcon from the movie.
Yeah, I sold all mine for like $600, $700. Yeah.
Well, funny thing is, they're not the most valuable thing in my house. Fun fact, weird story. this is another Star Wars thing, and I apologize.
No,
My
that's
great
fine.
grandmother got, box toppers. Apparently,
Yeah.
they had coupons on the back of all toys for a very long time. My great grandmother would buy them for the coupons, cut them with an X-Acto knife out, and then put the toys in a box. So she
Oh.
has she had when she passed away, she gave my dad every single original action figure in the box.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So
that's
he
a
has
lot.
like the cantina, he's got Luke, he's got all of these things just in a box. And I was like, Dad, just can I have one? You don't even really like Star Wars that much. Like, I'm a huge nerd, and I mean, granted,
And
he
your
also has a
dad's like,
master's in
yeah.
computer sciences. He's kind of a nerd too, but like definitely not as hard as I am. And he was like, nope, they're mine. And I was
Yeah.
like,
That's his
okay.
retirement fund.
I'm trying to remember. There was a
okay,
toy
boomer.
that it broke my heart, but it was also funny as shit. Where they released a Star Wars action figure of I think it was either Anakin or Luke's mom post burning house scene, and it was just this charred corpse, and it was
That
it
has
just
to be a joke, right?
I might have seen that. If
it
it was
might
part
not-
of the Aunt Beru, Uncle Owen, like I think it was like it might have been a joke, but it was a real like mock-up somewhere where it was the Aunt Beru, Uncle Owen like house on fire, like post on fire, charred up, and there were some stormtroopers with it, and there was a body. I think I remember that too.
Like the charred skeleton or whatever. Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
It's fucked up. But when you said that, like you had everything, it's like, do you have Aunt Peru? Over on my end, I have been playing more Halo Reach. I was hoping to beat the game with Nikhil, but it didn't quite work out. We just didn't have the time. But at the same time, I'm playing through the campaign again with Brandon and Nick in the chat. And it's like Super Goon Squad. It's like we're being a bunch of goons just going around and, oh, I accidentally stuck you with this grenade. And, just getting completely drunk and like,
Good old
press
Halo.
escape
Love
to
it.
forgive. Press X the boot. And it's like triple boot. But been having a good time with that. And I've been wanting to get into a game that Pokemon Sword left me in a burnout state, like the kind where it's like you just don't want to play video games anymore, especially with the whole shiny hunting thing. And I needed to learn to love again, and so I decided to pick up Stardew Valley again. I was gonna try to play it on the PC, but I found a different platform that I'm really enjoying it on. I'm playing it on the Switch now, and being able to take it and play it on the road when I'm, driving or I guess riding, preferably not driving. I don't have a Tesla, but I mean, if you want to talk with me,
Is it multiplayer now on Switch too? Like
Yeah.
I know that it's not on mobile yet, but it's multiplayer there too, and they have the 4
I would
quarters update.
imagine.
it is multiplayer on the Switch. Yes, you can play multiplayer,
Cool. Good.
but it's weird because the wife's like, "Hey, if you want to play with us for an hour on PC," I'm like, "You guys are in fall of like year 2. I don't want to play with you right." I got fucking blueberries to grow here. And playing on the Pro Controller is super nice, but I've sunk in maybe about 15-20 hours on the Switch. Been having a good time. Yeah, that's been my week. So let's move over to the modular segment, and this one's an interesting one. This is a kind of Christmas, or should we be politically correct and say holiday?
I mean, there's only one holiday that has this concept, I'm pretty sure.
True.
I am
Two?
celebrating Christmas personally.
Okay.
But
So, if you are of a faith that does not celebrate Christmas, I'd like to say thank you for respecting, the world and all that.
Yeah, enjoy the days off work, dude.
yeah, for real.
And just think of it as your equivalent of Santa in this question. Anyways, Santa thinks you've been naughty, and instead of coal is giving you your worst game from this decade. Let's play it to 100% completion or 100 hours, whichever comes
didn't read that.
first.
Didn't
What
read
is
that.
your sack of coal game?
Am I allowed to make a Rabbids joke?
Sure.
I'll make a
go ahead.
Rabbids joke for 100, please.
Yeah, go ahead. This is your one game that you don't want to play for 100 hours or complete to 100%. Whatever comes first.
Yeah, so any rabbits game,
I'm
I would
sorry,
hate
that
that.
is incorrect. You must
What's
start with what
Rabbids?
is. Thank you. Go
What is
ahead.
any rabbits game?
Thank you.
FF14, the original version that I mentioned earlier, because that was a piece of crap. Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom would be pretty terrible. Would be pretty terrible to have to play for
Is it
100
a
hours.
Sonic game?
Yeah, it's a Sonic
Oh
game,
yeah,
and it's one that
and a
came out
TV
on like the
show.
Wii U in like 2014. The TV show's all right, good
Yeah,
writing
I
in
was
it,
gonna say
good
I love the
comedy.
TV show, especially with the way they treat Dr. Eggman.
Yeah, but the game
Great.
is not great, very broken. And if we're gonna go, I mean, if we're gonna go really bottom of the barrel, probably the Ghostbusters game, the 2016 Ghostbusters game.
Really?
If I had to play that for 100 hours, I'd probably just like jump off a bridge instead or something.
I mean, you could complete it for like the platinum, hopefully less than 100 hours,
No,
right?
no, that's okay. No, that's
No,
okay. I'd rather eat a
no. You just
bug.
sit there on the title screen for 100 hours and just stare at it.
Yeah, you know what? If I can do that, that'd be better. I think.
Yeah, just
How?
damn.
Maybe I can like. Do I have to actively play it, or can I like be on my phone looking at the title screen? What do you think?
I think it would have to be something where you're actively like at least looking at the screen, since if you were the say Metal Gear Solid 4 or something like that, you'd be shit out of luck because of the fucking cutscenes. But yeah, as long as you're actively participating in it, I think would probably be the big thing.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to go for those because like you could go Anthem or Mass Effect Andromeda, but like at the end of the day, I could still probably enjoy myself to some extent in those. Like I've played them before, both of them, but it's like I could probably survive if I had to play 100 hours of those. But these ones are like, no, no, please, anything else, anything else.
I just imagine you just sitting there with eyes glazed, staring at the screen for 100 hours for like that like the 10-hour challenge, except taking one step up, just hearing.
Crying,
Yeah, you just
eyes bleeding.
your eyes are bleeding blood at this point because they're dried up.
You don't like Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda?
Yeah, no.
Oh, I loved those games.
Oh, I'm sorry. EA has not been making good games recently.
No, here's the thing. I thought Andromeda was a good start to an interesting story, and then they were like, "We're not going to support it. It didn't make enough money." That's not the developer's fault. That's EA's fault for being money.
No, it's always EA's fault most of the
And
time.
then-
BioWare was basically cannibalized by them.
Yeah, and then
Rest in
freaking
peace, Visceral.
like the gameplay and the class. Like I loved Anthem. They just needed more. But once again, I think wasn't that one of those things where they were like, "Hey, we don't like this. Change it last minute, and they came in. They were like, okay."
Yeah, so
I
like
thought
a
that
bunch
that
of
was
stuff,
my perception, but
kind of, because what
Yeah.
kind of happened to BioWare is the BioWare that made Mass Effect series, the original Mass Effect series, and everything before that kind of doesn't exist anymore. All of those devs left, and they were hiring new talent that didn't have too much experience, and they were kind of taken under EA's wing to make these games. So you run
Mhm.
into a situation where, in both those cases, with Andromeda and especially with Anthem, with the content level that was in Anthem, kind of like what you complained about, the problem was it had already upon release been kind of pegged as one of the worst games of the decade. Like you could look up lists of most disappointing games of the 2010s, and I guarantee you Andromeda and Anthem will be on both, like anyone you look up.
Oh man.
Because Metacritic wise, like critically, any players, they were like, oh god, no, no thanks. I got into
No.
I got into the beta, like one of the early access versions of Anthem, and played around before it came out. And like I agree, where it's like the very basic level. This is why these are games where I felt like I wouldn't put them on this list because I can get some enjoyment out of them. Where Anthem,
Yeah.
especially, I feel like felt okay, but the problems were all underneath the surface with how the weapon system worked and how the damage counting worked and stuff like that. There were kind of some flaws in there which made it so. I remember one of the big problems, and we found this out about a month in, was that it didn't matter how the damage scaled and how the numbers worked with what armor you would put on. It was actually optimal to take off all your armor and use the default gun because there was an error in how it counted damage. And so, like, while it appeared to be doing more damage, it actually wasn't with higher level weapons, and it just made the whole progression pointless. And it was like a whoa, big controversy.
Oh, that makes me so mad. I put so much time into that game, just being like, yeah, I love the gameplay. I'm super
Hey.
excited to get new things. You know how many times I did that last level
Yeah.
just over and over and over, grinding for legendaries? Terrible, terrible drop rate.
But-
But yeah, anyway,
even knowing that though, your enjoyment didn't go away. So
true.
it's still
It
there.
didn't.
It's still there.
Yeah.
So doesn't you,
Well,
you don't lose that.
I sent some into the Discord just so you could see. I've loved Mass Effect for a very long time to a point where I made my own Shepard cosplay. You know, like
Nice. Yeah, I see that.
so.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it makes me very sad that it's thought of that it's at least with Mass Effect that it's thought of that way. Because
Wait,
Yeah.
is that you?
yeah,
Wow, you got hair.
yeah, I did. I had hair. That was like. Let me see.
You look
this
like
photo
a younger
taken.
version of Ryan Reynolds. Like, war has
You
changed
wanna
him
see
or
another
something.
Awesome. Yeah, no, hair makes a big difference.
Sure
I'll send you
does.
yeah, I'll send another photo, but don't worry about it. Yeah, you'll see. Someone actually sent me a photo on the internet. I did not create this photo. It's a photo of me next to Ryan Gosling, and we look like fucking brothers. It's disgusting.
Oh my god. That's funny.
I know, like, the people on stream, you can only see part of this, and I'm so sorry. Let me fix that for a hot second. I'm gonna try to.
Yeah, can we get that on screen? Can we get that last one on screen?
Yes, we can. Let's. So, for the people who are listening to the stream, what the hell? Like, the resemblance there is that. How much younger is Ryan Reynolds in that? That's crazy.
Ryan Gosling?
That's
Oh, is that?
Gosling,
Oh,
yeah.
Gosling.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
That's
sorry.
the goose.
Yeah, it's
the
the
goose.
goose, man.
Wait, just to make sure I understand, who did Venom?
Venom?
Neither.
Neither.
Yeah, that was oh my gosh, what's his name?
This
Tom
is awkward.
Hardy.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. This picture of you from Mass Effect, though, is impeccable.
Yeah, that
Holy
was
s-
Comic-Con in 2016, so it was only 2 or 3 years ago. I
Nice.
blame it on this one job I did. I worked for a company called Instacart, which does grocery delivery service, and it was unbelievably stressful, very, very, very frustrating, and I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles traffic. I blame my thinning hair on that job because it wasn't like it was always getting a little thinner and then it got really thin over like 2 years and then it just stopped. It hasn't gotten thinner since I stopped working there. So that's one of the goals in the future is we found a really good hair restoration place. We'll try to get back to
Nice.
a nice full head of hair. I actually got a Dundee in college for most dynamic hair because I was always changing it and just doing funky stuff. I'd let it grow out and then I'd, change it to a crazy faux hawk with a duck tail, which is just a tiny mullet, and so yeah. I had a lot of fun with hair and now it just doesn't exist. I wear hats a lot.
Yeah, I'm in that process right now. It's going away and it's going away fast. So I'm gonna get like a year or two out of it and then just cut it all off and say whatever. I'm not gonna play
Yep.
that game.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I usually do is just buzz
Yeah.
it now. Just buzz, buzz, buzz. Just
I think
don't
I
I
worry
got
gotta-
it off.
I got a big ass forehead already. It's like if this sucker gets any bigger, I'm sorry. I love you, wife, but this shit has to go. Like I don't want to have, the monk. I don't want to have a bald head. It's just I'm either gonna go shaved or I want a full, maybe a wig at this point. I'll go wig. I'll go toupee. Do what I have to.
Do what you have to.
Do it.
I like it.
2019. Do what you have to.
Hey man. But enough about our thinning hairlines. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, Glenn. What is your Cole game? Well, what game is Santa bringing you for being a naughty bean?
So I read the thing and then I didn't see from this decade. And then I also that one doesn't even count either. So mine doesn't count because I was like, I think we talked about it earlier. I'm just not like I'm not a picky eater. I'm not a picky person in general. Like I hang out with people that sometimes in my like close to me that are like some people like, why do you hang out with them? And I'm like, because they're nice. And they're like, they're terrible to you. And I'm like, yeah, but they're fine. They're fine. I'm just pretty simple and easy to please. So games don't like you said, Andromeda hated it. You didn't like it at all, and like Anthem, I really liked it for a long time until it was like I was streaming it until it was a legitimately dead game on Twitch,
yeah.
and so I'm very easy to please. And because of that, most games don't bother me. But if we're going last decade, it's probably Dragon Age 2.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I love the Dragon Age series, Origins and Awakening and Inquisition are fantastic. Um, but Dragon Age 2 tried to be The Witcher 3
Yeah.
and it couldn't. And it stuck you
Oof.
in a single city and made you be a character with a name and let you do some customization of the face, and that was it. But The Witcher had, books and 2 games prior that made you a single character, so people were connected to Geralt, and but Dragon Age didn't have that. You're just like, they're like, you're Hawk. What? I think I got through that game in like 40 or 50 hours, but if I was forced to play that for 100, nope, I got through it so that I could have my choices make a difference in Inquisition. That was all I
Yeah.
did.
I
I didn't
remember
want to have
that.
the default choices.
I remember that
Um,
always being a complaint because I think that was very early. That might be, I don't know when that game came out, but I think it was right at the turn of the decade, if not right
Something like
around
that,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, because it was pretty early
Because
on, and I
Inquisition was
remember
2013 or
I think it was
2014.
15 was
Yeah.
Inquisition. I think that was 15 game of the year or 14 game of the year. No, 15 game of the year was Inquisition because 14 was, I think, Shadows of Mordor at Game Awards or something like that. But yeah,
Hmm.
so I remember that being a thing back then where even when like I
2011.
wasn't, there you go. Even when I wasn't super into games back then because I kind of was in games when I was younger, I took a break and played mostly PC and then I got really into games later. But like even in that between period, I was hearing from friends like, "Oh man, Dragon Age 2 is a mess," and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So that
Well,
seems
and
to
they
kind of
went to a
transcend.
real hack and slash. Before it was much more tactical. You could be cautious. You could avoid combat altogether. At Origins and Awakening, and they had this beautiful story where consequences had effects that were you know, long down the road. You'd be
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I made this choice. I can no longer do this thing. Kind of like in Mass Effect, where like I get to Mass Effect 3 and I want to have this ending happen, for like the end of this trilogy, and a choice I made in Mass Effect 2 keeps it from happening.
Mm.
That sort of stuff really resonated with me in Dragon Age 2. Just it was, I'm in a city, I'm a guy. I don't know. Yeah. So and it was super hack and slashy, and I was just like, it was satisfying. It was just it didn't feel in line with the series. So
Right, right. It wasn't
and
what
they
you guys
definitely
had
got back to it.
expected.
Yeah. They definitely got back to it in Inquisition though, because I
Mhm.
put 250 hours in Inquisition. It was amazing. So
There you go.
um but there's my game, I think, if we're talking about the last decade.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't have any games. I'd play all of them happily for $100.
So
Oh my
Tyler,
god, I can't believe I forgot that.
I see you've written some stuff down here, Tyler. I do see a couple games you've written down here, Tyler.
I might
Oh,
have to
then
roll
I
Now I
for
don't
don't
know
know
if you
if I
did that.
didn't. Oh my
I don't know
deception
if
god,
you
with
I can't
did that
believe I
because I
forgot.
disadvantage.
was coming on or what, but
So I couldn't think of. I had 3 games that came to mind over the years, and I couldn't choose between them. And thankfully, Cam did the nice thing of picking multiple games as well, so I feel more vindicated in picking 3 games. There are 3 games that I realized that I could never play to completion or spend 100 hours on. Whatever is worse. The first one is maybe Cam you understand, but maybe not so much Glenn. Paper Mario Color Splash for the Nintendo Wii U
yeah,
was
I could get that.
was a dark point in the Paper Mario game series for me. It felt like it was sinking lower and lower with the 3DS game and the
Yeah.
NDS games, with like the Toad searches and all that stuff. But it hit a super low point for me when it came out for the Wii U. And it was very frustrating. Like the idea that you don't level up your character through combat, making combat completely pointless,
Yeah,
was
it's not a
frustrating
Paper
enough.
Mario game anymore.
It's like if you are trying to actively avoid the battles, for all intents and purposes, and there might be boss fights that you can't even win until you get a certain item in a different location, but they'll let you instigate it. Like they did that with Tubba Blubba in the original Paper Mario, but it was like more for story purposes. Aha, I'm invincible for now. Good thing you got to run away. And they did that
Hmm.
for I think his name is Dupless in the Thousand Year Door, where you got to guess his name.
Yes. Yeah, you have to guess the name. But
And
you can't just guess it, you have to have heard it.
yes, from that fucking parrot or something like that, or crow. I
Mhm.
don't remember, some kind of bird down below.
Yeah, I think it was a crow in Twilight Town, I think.
I
Yeah.
think it was in the basement or something like that. There's like a chatty, like you talk to the crows, and the crows tell you that there's like a fucking parrot in the basement. You got to get to the basement of that mansion you fight him at. And then
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because there's a parrot later on in Thousand Year Door in the 6th star, I want to say, and that's in the 4th star. But it's been a while. I should replay that honestly.
yeah,
But
the fact I remember the name Dupless is kind of like
yeah,
upsetting. It's like, wow, that's a hell of a callback. But Color Splash, it takes the looks of Paper Mario and it makes it look great. But the way they designed the story and like how you're supposed to progress through it was just such hair pulling that I don't even want to play it. I don't even want to beat it, let alone try to do 100% completion or 100 hours, which would
So the
be
aesthetic was fine. It was just the gameplay.
yeah,
I
it
didn't
looked
play it.
great for the most part. It's just the mechanics that made you had to do the progress were just it sucked.
yeah, I feel that big time because Paper Mario originally was an RPG series. Paper Mario originally was an RPG series, and the idea was, right, you have a bunch of casts of characters, you have, fun sidekicks and stuff like that. You level up, you fight enemies, all that good stuff. RPG funness, right? The story's fun, whimsical, comical, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah,
You get to Sticker Star. Sticker Star, I think that might be my low point, but Color Splash is kind of right around there too. Where the problem with Sticker Star is kind of the similar problem to Color Splash, where combat is disincentivized because you have to keep your good stickers for fights. So why would I spend them if it doesn't matter? If I'm
right.
not leveling up traditionally, and then they relegated it to levels instead of worlds, and all your sidekicks were toads. Like that was the crappiest decision ever, honestly. And I remember it being attributed to, I think it was Miyamoto, and I forget who he was talking to, but they were basically making the Thousand Year Door again, is what they were doing originally. And he came and said, no, don't do it again. Do something different. And that's what they came up with.
That's
So at that point,
fucked.
retire, dude. Retire.
Like the Thousand Year Door, that Paper Mario game, I like to say I that came out in like 2003, 2004, between
Yeah,
2003 and 2005.
I'm feeling four. I'm feeling four. It was yeah, a GameCube game, obviously, but yeah.
There's one person that's gonna Google it immediately to correct us in the chat, so we got that going
Good.
for us. I know,
Good.
right? Yeah, keep that person, marry them. My point is, it feels like they had the best script writing of that decade. Like the story and the way they did commentary on that was so like for Nintendo specifically.
Yeah,
They,
okay. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I probably shouldn't say that too much, but it's like it was so fucking good that like it's timeless. And then
Mm-hmm.
it went from that to like toads, lots of fucking toads, toads dancing everywhere, toads saying some the fucking noise that they make. Yeah, that's disgusting. Which I don't even think they do in a Paper Mario, bless them. But it just
What a shame.
I like I even tried to love Super Paper Mario, and it's good.
Yeah. But it's
But
not Paper Mario. I
it's
can't
not
do it either.
RPG anymore. Well, it is,
Yeah.
but it's an action RPG. What's yeah. But between that, I say it every year. So here's my yearly PSA. I hate Near Automata badly, and I think I tried playing it 3 different times after getting stuck, and it's just I can't do it. Like I'm so amazed that my wife beat it 1 time so far, but some reason she didn't want to play it through a second time, which kind of threw me off. It's like, isn't the point to beat it like 4 or 5 times before you get like the true ending or whatnot?
Sort of. It's every time you beat it becomes a different story. So you're not really playing it through 5 times. You're playing like a fourth of the game, and then it unlocks another fourth of the game. That's really ending B, and then yeah, it goes on that way for 4 more times. So really, you're playing a full game. It's just split up in sections of like 3 to 4 until you get to E. I think it is E or F is the good ending, the final
So
good ending.
it gives you the illusion of completing the game, but in fact, it's basically a chapter.
Yes, pretty much. That's the best way to say it. I mean, you can stop at A, but that would be crazy to do so because you're not getting half of the game and what it's supposed to be.
How much time do you think it would take to complete that properly, just
It
story
took
wise?
me, I think it took me like 25 or 30 hours, I want to say, total.
I think I
That's
put
not
like
too
7.
bad.
Yeah, that's actually fairly reasonable. Doing it for a 100% completion might
So there's a lot to
maybe.
do in that game because it's a platinum game. There's a lot of action challenges, obviously, that you can do and
Yes,
stuff like that. So there is plenty of
yes.
content that you could put 100 hours into, kind of in the same way like the Bayonetta situation, where it's like, oh yeah, you can do all these side challenges and stuff like that, and secret bosses and all that good stuff. because as everybody knows, Nier Automata is a wonderful game.
I'm not
I
letting
literally
myself
can't
get.
comment. I've never even heard of this game before.
No, that's okay. It's okay. Glenn, you know those amazing shits you take where you go to the wipe and you realize there's nothing there? Just cut it and flush it. Just let it go out of your memory.
No, you should play it.
Great.
You should play. You should play the 2017 winner of many Game of the Year awards. I'm not being sarcastic.
What system is it on?
Damn it.
PS4 and Xbox.
No. Cab.
Nice.
Just tell him to play the Vita on Persona 4 Golden or something.
You can do that too.
I'll
You
play
can do that
FIFA.
too.
FIFA? Okay.
Not FIFA, no. The
Yes.
Vita.
So, Glenn, what Cam's trying to tell you is you should play FIFA, the Game of the Year of 2017, according to the many
No.
awards.
No,
No.
not that one.
Hello, darkness, my
Have you ever
old
looked
friend.
at FIFA's user scores? So, like, FIFA 20 on Metacritic right now has a user score of 1.6
Out of 10?
out of 10.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's probably like we joke about review embargoes and stuff in like the core gamer audience games where people go back and forth with Pokemon and all that, but that's going on like unheard of levels over there where it's like, oh yeah, no, everybody hates it. It's a big thing and millions of people
jeez.
play it.
Oh, jeez.
Why?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
just
lot of angry people.
Yeah, it's a big disconnect between like the casual gaming audience who buys a PS4 to play FIFA and then the people who play other games as well who will go on Metacritic and be like, no, this is garbage. Oh my god, the systems they put in this game is oh. Well, sports games are like with microtransactions and how they handle them have always been pretty bad on the cutting edge of evil. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Unfortunate. Lastly, and this is probably not going to be a shocker to some. Some can agree, some can disagree. It's fairly and it sucks because it's this specific game out of the whole thing. There's other games I'd be willing to give like 100 hours into.
Mhm.
I don't think I could do 100 hours of Fortnite. I
that
like
surprises me.
because well, the answer is I could, but A, it would require friends, and B, it would require copious amounts of alcohol. And if a
And
game
no soul. Don't forget the no soul thing.
so if I need to be intoxicated heavily for 100 hours just to play a game, that's not a good game.
I was gonna say, like, man, I don't know. We played with Nick, and I thought we were having fun, but you might have just been slammed.
I'm pretty sure I was slammed. So it's like, I mean, playing Fortnite and getting drunk while playing Fortnite makes two bad habits. Alcohol and playing Fortnite. It's like, no, that's rough. And it's weird because I'd be down for trying for 100 hours of PUBG even, or Apex
or
Legends.
something.
Yeah, Apex would be good to mess around with, but Fortnite specifically, I think it's just because of its free base. It's harbored such
We
a
like Fortnite. We like Fortnite.
No, don't
We
you
have-
know Fortnite's dead? Don't you guys know about this yet?
Is this real?
Yeah, so this is really funny, but you know how kids are with trends, how something like within a month can become cool and not cool, right?
Yeah.
So I've worked with a lot of kids. I worked with a lot of kids at my previous job, and I see a lot of talk on the internet and stuff like that. And as of like halfway through this year, everyone just kind of, not everyone obviously, because it's still one of the highest grossing games ever, but most of like the kid audience and the culture of kids moved on to Fortnite is stupid. And to the point where like you can go now into like
You
Toys
get
R Us's
beaten
and
in the
stuff.
hallways for floss dancing.
No, not even Toys R Us, obviously, but I've heard stories of like kids in Target and stuff, like retail friends have overheard kids screaming, Fortnite is dead, and stuff like that. And I've seen it myself too, where kids would tell me that Fortnite's dead. And it was right around like, I want to say 2 months after Apex came out. And it wasn't because of
Oh.
Apex, it was just a natural kind of the fad was over for a lot of that generation. And so they kind of like it's kind of a cultural thing now where Fortnite's not too cool anymore. It's interesting.
I'm surprised considering right now you can get lightsabers in it, and I thought people
Yeah,
would be
they're
super
trying.
into that.
And they are. I mean, there's still millions upon millions of people who are, but I mean, Fortnite's not the biggest grossing or highest viewed game of this year. That's for sure.
That's
What is?
Minecraft.
Oh.
Minecraft has big
checks out.
comebacks.
Yep.
Big comebacks. 100 billion views on YouTube this year. 100 billion. Fortnite had 40 billion.
a hell of a return.
Yeah.
Bill?
Yeah, Bill.
Wow.
Man. So I mean, Vito in the chat is saying that he plays with his mom and she's just getting back into video game. Like I'm thinking of my situation of what we talked about before. If my mom got internet and got into Fortnite, I would play 100 hours. Even it's just
Oh
at that
yeah.
point it'd be family bonding. Just like if my mom can carry me to like chicken dinners every time, sure, I'd
Carry her
I'd do
around.
that.
Winner, baby.
I
Yeah.
distinctly
Thanks, Mom.
remember circa Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the original one, Call of Duty 4, basically, right? I had my grandma over at one point for a function and I threw her in front of it because she used to play NES and stuff and it was a joke. And it was like, here, grandma, go ahead. And I distinctly remember like her getting a kill and laughing maniacally. She just could not get enough of it. Just like the biggest cackle, just, I killed him. I shot him right in the face. And I was like, yeah, get it, grandma. Get it, grandma. I'm telling you, so she's coming over for the holidays, and now that she has internet again, she wants me to put games on her computer. So I
All
never
right,
know
Grandma,
what that
let's
means,
squad up.
but I
Modern
might try
Warfare,
and
baby. Let's squad.
yeah, I might try and put a couple things on there to kind of seed ideas. I'm gonna give her Near Automata. No, I'm not.
Game
Eyes
Night
up, Grandma Guardian.
17.
Yeah.
Good hook her up with Destiny. I'm like, isn't the first section of that free?
she's like 82. Like I
Just
don't
give
know
her
if she has the
Titan.
reflexes
Titans will.
anymore.
Titans, you
Titanfall.
just gotta push a button and they shoulder check, and it's like boom, win.
No, I'm gonna get her on. This is a joke, obviously, but I'm gonna get her on playing the whole Trails series. We're gonna do it all 9 games: Trails of Cold Steel, Trails in the Sky. We're going big,
Alright.
big weeb games. We're gonna play Neptunia. We're gonna get
Okay.
some. We're gonna get some good stuff going on.
I want to hear about this later for sure.
I want to see it. Okay, so this is half a joke, right? But like this part's real. I want to see if I can get at least one like big anime titty game in there, and just kind of like
Oh,
sneak
yeah.
it in, and just see what happens. Kind of just see what goes down, right? Maybe a visual novel or something. We'll see what goes down. I think that's the play. 100%.
Yeah, keep a strip.
Yeah, yeah. A Akiba strip, yeah, potentially.
I mean that's simple and to the point. Has voice acting. Just make sure she has her hearing aids or headphones in, and I think she'd be down.
Yeah, we get her Katawa Shoujo. Just
Glenn's doing the I gotta smile and agree to this, but I don't feel comfortable with this topic kind of situation.
Yeah, go, Grandma. Here's some porn.
yeah, grandma.
It's
Grandma's
not
down for it, are you
porn.
kidding?
It's hentai and it's art.
Yeah, it's art. It's art. It's art. That's the
There's
nice
no-
thing, though. Is like,
There's no nudity. It's
fan.
technically it's eki.
yeah, but I'd probably put something in there that did just for funsies. See what happens.
Nick in the chat is
She just
suggesting
do
Doki
roller
Doki
derby, she'd be
literature.
down.
Oh, that's awesome.
I would not give any grandmother DDLC. That would be
DDLC.
I think there's a lot
Doki
of
Doki
context
Literature Club.
required. Yeah, there's too much context required where even if you did that, it wouldn't mean anything because she would just be like, I don't get it. What's the, like, there's no context of the
Why is
symbolism
she
there.
trying to make her neck longer? That's weird.
that she'd get.
Yeah, I was gonna say. No, actually, I was about to make a darker joke. I'm backing off. Beep, beep. Okay, so topic of the show. Nothing too crazy, just because it's the holidays, but something's going on over on Steam. Much like the Steam summer sales, there is a winter sales, guys. Is there gonna be any games that you guys jumped on yet? Because there's quite a few deals that's going on.
Yeah, man, are you ready for a miracle, dude? Here's the time. Steam's winter sale, the holiday sale, has always been one of the biggest events. I know when I was younger, right? That was one of the biggest sales of the year, biggest event, maybe in buying games, where it's like that's where you load up, that's where you get like 10 things, and you just play them the whole rest of the year. So the problem I'm running into now is there's nothing for me to buy in the winter sale, and that's for a couple
Ooh.
reasons. One, I have everything already, I feel like, so I don't have any reason to like go out and grab stuff, and that's just for me, obviously, where it's like all the really good deals and cheap stuff I have already. But then
Yeah.
the other side of this is that the winter sale these days I think is a lot inferior to how it used to be. Like the flash sales were getting people to access that store every 8 hours or so everyone was showing up to check on them, to see what sales were going on every 8 hours. The engagement was insane back when they were doing that, right?
Like Gabe Newell
Beyond
was in
that-
a tank and shooting shit down to like 80% off, 90% off,
Yeah.
and people are like, what the and now it's like
yeah
10% off. Enjoy it,
Right,
mortals.
And then beyond that too, like the discounts are lower, but what they're doing right now, you got to think of it too from like, I know their audience might have changed, but from like a kid's perspective too, it's like the thing with the winter sale now is you spend like there's discounts, right? But you spend $50 and then you get enough tokens to get a coupon that gives you $5 off. So it kind of, that discount at least requires you to have spending money beforehand, which for a lot of kids is like the reason we were jumping on the sale in the first place was because we maybe had $10 and wanted to get 3 games with it. So that
Right.
kind of
Right.
defeats the purpose. And then now you also use those tokens just to buy emotes and stuff like that. So it's kind of lost the spirit, I think, of what it was intended to be. So not anything for me personally. Like, I'm out of games to buy right now on Steam, and I'm not looking with plenty of stuff I got to play. So nothing for me, but
That's true. Nick in the chat suggesting that it's because they are making games again and they gotta pay for that development.
yeah, they're attempting to make games, but remember, they were making games back then too. They were making a lot more of them back then. I'm talking, when I'm talking, I guess heyday, I'm talking like 2006, 2007 to
So like Portal
probably
2 kind of
2010,
stuff.
2011. Yeah, I mean, back around that time, Orange Box period was when, Steam sale was insane, running into 2011, 2012. I think it really started to, I haven't checked every single year, but I think around 15, it started to go downhill a little bit, where they started to add like emotes and stuff like that instead of just heavily discounting games and flash sales and things. I forget what year flash sales went away, but that was one big indicator for me.
So, thank you to PCGamer.com for this. Just a basic heads up on the most popular looking ideas of sales
Mhm.
that's going on.
That's
Cam, why
good.
don't you take off the list here?
You want me to go on the list?
Yeah,
I can do that. Let's see here.
Give you some
last minute.
participation points.
Sounds good. All right, so we got just of the major stuff here on the PC Gamer article. We have Frostpunk, which is 60% off, $12. That's worth it. That's worth it. Frostpunk is a management RTS, I believe, and takes place in a Frostpunk setting, kind of like
Yes.
Steampunk but frosty. So
Yes,
that's
it
pretty
is.
good. That's pretty good. Dark Souls 3, $15, 75% off. Honestly, I would expect that to be cheaper now. That
Yeah,
came out
I
in like
mean-
2016.
It's getting old, so it's like you'd think they just want to get it in the hands, but they're giving that like Nintendo Lite tax, I guess.
Yeah,
You gotta
yeah,
remember
that-
too, it's digital, so like it's not like they have to
Yeah.
move the product, you know?
Right, right. That feels like I feel like if this were one of the old Steam sales, that would be a $6.99 is how I'd put that
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
at this point. Yeah. Total War Warhammer 2, 66% off at $20. Listen, a Warhammer game comes out every 2 seconds. You cannot track them all. It's impossible. There's like 8 every month. So it's one of them. I can tell you that. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice for $10.
Hell yeah.
That's very worth it. 67% off. Plus, Xbox just announced their new console and a sequel. So, get on that Hellblade though.
Yes.
That's good.
Question mark.
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, $39, 35% off. Okay.
I didn't even know it
like
came out.
April, but
Did it?
yeah, it came out in April. It was Game of the Year at Game Awards.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Oh,
Mhm.
Unfortunately.
that's
Yeah.
My
good.
buddy got to
I
play
think.
test it. He was one of the
Oh,
people that got
nice.
to play test it in Santa Monica.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a tough one too, because just a brief aside with that won Game of the Year at the Game Awards this year, and it was just like, it was somewhat illogical because other games beat Sekiro in categories it was up for and won more awards, but then didn't win Game of the Year. So it's almost like, what are you ranking Sekiro on? The only other award it took was Best Action Adventure, but the other 28 awards were taken by other people. Some people had 4 awards, some people had 3 awards. So it's like,
You think it was
I
a
don't know.
pity
And
prize?
from everything
then?
I've heard from it, it's got a niche audience. It's like if you like very difficult,
yeah,
like super technical fighting games, yes. Like my
Mhm.
buddy loved For Honor.
Yep.
So he loved Sekiro.
yeah,
He, like,
and it's
in his playtest in a week, he almost beat it. Like loved it. But I was like, great, I will not buy it. That does not sound interesting to me. You know?
yeah, it's somewhat of a Souls-like, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
Just because it's not an RPG really anymore. So I think the biggest complaint I've heard from people is, obviously this is FromSoft, so they're good at designing the map and they're good at designing how everything connects and good at combat. But I've heard that people say it was a mistake to have FromSoft actually put the story at the forefront rather than having it hidden in lore because they weren't too great at writing it. And then the other big thing I've heard is that because you only have one weapon, the replayability of the game goes to 0, unlike a Dark Souls game where people like to
Oh.
try out different builds and different weapons, but the game
Oh,
really could
dang.
have used a couple new weapons other than the sword. So I've heard
Yeah.
that about Sekiro, where a lot of my friends too, like I wasn't the one who reviewed it in my group. My buddy, I think my buddy Sam did, and he was a big Souls veteran, and he kind of said it was like pretty mid. overall. He was like, yeah, no, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best thing I played. It was okay. It was good, but not amazing. So,
Mhm.
but still, 39. It came out in April. That's fair. That's pretty fair. You used to get
Better
crazy
than
deals.
Anthem. What was
Yeah.
it like?
Yeah.
$2-3 you saw at GameStop
picked
or
it
some
up.
shit?
Yeah. No, I picked it up at GameStop because Anthem new was $5 and used was $3.99. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what happens when nobody wants to buy the game. You have to keep discounting. That's what happened to Fallout 76 too.
You got a limited edition Frisbee essentially at that point.
Hey, I mean, listen, Anthem I think is worth $3.99.
I've got disc golf discs that are cheap, that are more expensive than that, man. Like, that's crazy.
Yep. Monster Hunter
Wow.
World. Monster Hunter World is $24, 60% off. Yes.
That's pretty
100%
awesome.
yes. 100%
Yes.
yes on that. That's I've put 250 hours in that game. Big yes.
Have you played the expansion?
No, I haven't. My buddy reviewed that though, and it's
It's
more
like Frostborn or something.
Yeah, Iceborne.
Iceborne. Everybody
it's-
that's big on that. So
I've been very
they've all
tempted,
got
like,
it on Xbox, and I have
Yeah.
it on PlayStation. So
originally the plan was I was
Oof.
going to jump back into Destiny and Monster Hunter World when I was free in December here, but I'll probably have to wait until like January and maybe grab one of those. But yeah, Stardew Valley is 40% off and it's $9. Cool.
Yep, I think it's
Get it.
usually 15, which makes sense with the whole math and all that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
$9, great deal, great deal.
oh yeah,
That's worth. I'd like to see that. Like, again, it's one of those things where it might be just be my memory, but I remember like circa 2011, we were astounded by what games they were selling for $5. We were like, "What? Are you kidding me? For 5?" And it was like
Right.
one of the big releases of a couple years ago, and we were like, "Jeez."
Hell,
So,
even $7.50 would like just make it look amazing, just half off right off the get go. That'd be great.
Yeah.
well, I will say it probably looks like $8.99 on the store, in which case it's like you got that 8 in front. That's nice. That's nice.
Mm.
Max
You'll,
Payne 3 is $7,
consumerism.
65% off. That should be
Eh.
cheaper. That's great, but that should be cheaper. Especially,
But
yeah.
It's $7. How much cheaper do you want it to be?
These things should be, I mean, again, I'm
You want
talking about the
Anthem
past year.
prices?
Yeah, that's what old Steam sale used to be. It would be you pick the stuff up for $4.99, no problem.
True.
Especially
True.
now that it's not like, because I think well, I guess it was Steam. I don't know. I remember big store. There was a place that in my local mall when I was a kid called Software Etc.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if it was a national chain. That's just where I got my first Pokemon cards and stuff.
Nice.
Was actually at that game store, and I remember like sometimes they'd have big sales and it was awesome, but it was always like, it's like you said, it was kind of like these Steam sales, but I understood because my dad explained
Mhm.
merchandising and they had to outload the new physical stock.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy to me even that they would do sales like this at all,
Yeah.
just because like they don't have to get rid of the codes. They have an unlimited amount of stock since it's
Right. This
digital.
isn't Rock Band sitting on the
Well,
shelf
that's
here.
Sitting in
That's
the
the
back
trick
taking up
about
space.
digital. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the trick about digital, though. Eventually, we're getting to a point where they've convinced everyone that $60 is both a physical and digital game, even though it takes probably more to produce that disc and ship it and have shelf space available than it does to host the server that has the game on it. So, yeah, they kind of a trick, kind of a profit maximizing trick right there for digital. I'm a physical fan myself, so just keep that in awareness, I guess.
Hell
Final
yeah.
one on this list is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Nice. $50, 17% off. That did just come out like a month ago. I
Yeah.
will say it has been cheaper already, though. I
I saw
follow
it
an
for like
account.
40.
Yeah, I saw an account, Cheap Ass Gamer. I follow them on Twitter, and they post a lot of discounts and stuff like that. And it was on 40 on Amazon for a couple days, right around
Yeah.
Black Friday, I want to say.
I
Or
was gonna say,
somewhere
I'm
right around there.
surprised. It sounds like it's been a hot ticket item. So, like the
Oh,
fact that
totally.
they're dropping the
I've heard
price.
it's good. It's just not super long, is all I've heard. It's very good. It adds a lot to the lore. Apparently, there are even references in the new Rise of Skywalker movie to this video
Oh,
game.
good. That's good to know.
So I didn't see them because I didn't play the game yet.
Right.
But like my buddy who did play it said, "Oh my god!" and he didn't tell me what it was, so it
Yeah.
won't spoil anything for you. But if you
Okay.
play the game, you will know.
Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, Fallen Order,
I
I
don't spoil.
really liked. I really like Fallen Order a lot. It's interesting because it's kind of a blend of a Souls-like in terms of combat, and then a little bit of Uncharted with a lot of climbing early on, but then it
I
kind
didn't
of
Nice.
see that.
an adventure
It's got
kind of
like
game.
3/4 view, like holographic maps of the area, so you can like see where the elevation changes are and stuff. I
Mhm.
watched my buddy play it, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, that's super awesome. Yeah.
It turns into a bit of a Metroidvania at some points too, because you have to go to different planets to get new force abilities that unlock things in older areas. And you can see what's really nice on the map is that you can see where it's red, like our doorway will be red. That means you can't access it right now. But once you get a new force power, you'll go back
Ooh.
and see it as green, which means you can go through it. So it tells you what you've
Ooh.
missed too. Overall, I
Okay.
mean, I loved the game. I thought it was great. And yeah, I mean, it was about, I want to say I beat it in like 14 hours, but for like a cinematic game, that's about expected. So
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, yeah, big
I
fan of
mean,
that.
that's same level as God of War. And technically, I think Spider-Man 2, maybe Spider-Man's a little bit longer, but
All
you know,
those.
in the same range where quality and all that stuff. I think it's worth it.
Yeah. Honestly, like all those the Sony cinematic games for the most part, like your God of War, your Last of Us, your Spider-Man, this, even though it's not a Sony, like those all hit in like the 13 to 20 hour range usually for a standard playthrough. So
Mm.
Nick in the chat's asking if you platinum the game.
no, I don't platinum anything.
Okay.
I play something, I complete the campaign generally. I'll do a few side things and I'll move on to the next thing because like I have to cover a lot of games because we try and review every single major release that comes out on my other thing. And so it's like, all right, cool. You're on to this one. You're on to the next one. Awesome. So I beat
Here's
it.
my
move on.
paragraph. Let's go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good deal. Good deal. I think that's going to be it for the topic of the show then. We have a hell of a packed episode so far. Glenn, can I entrust you the game releases for this week?
Well, it looks like there is none. So, but I don't really know what this is. In our notes, we have this fun little Shed Ninja, or
Oh.
Shed Ninja. Is that how you say his name?
Shit.
Shedinja.
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 How is this Shedinja emo?
Because
Well,
it enjoys being cloaked by darkness.
Is that not normally what they look like, though?
Oh yeah, that's how it looks normally, but I mean, do you see it cloaked in darkness?
do you usually
No.
enjoy being cloaked in darkness?
I mean,
Because if so,
yes.
Oh.
you might need to see a doctor. You've got the emo.
Or I'm a vampire. My
I was gonna say,
eyes.
I was thinking Shadow Sorcerer too. I was like,
Ooh, that's
No,
what
we
I was
would have
gonna
known.
do.
He would have outed himself if he was an emo. He would have freaked out on the Nightmare to Christmas set earlier.
Now it makes me wonder
I
if
I
Shedinja's
totally would have, and I didn't.
he's like talking and he starts putting like Juggalo makeup on or some shit.
Oh, but they also had,
That's
I forgot
different.
this, they had BSG and Starship Troopers miniatures that were used
Oh,
on
cool.
screen as well.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, it was a
That's
really,
really
dope
cool.
studio. And even like D&D wise, one of the girls that works there, Hope, is on one of the official Wizards of the Coast live streams. Heroes of the Realm, I think it's called. So I just kept walking around just like
Yeah.
the whole day. It was hard to get work done.
I can
But it was like
imagine,
32 hours of work in 2 days. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
A lot of work.
Well,
throw off my sleep schedule.
since there's no actual big games coming out this week because it is in fact Christmas, people don't want to release it after Christmas. Seems kind of silly.
I will say
Mhm.
there's going to be some champion because there always is. There's going to be some champion out there who releases a game on the 25th. There is almost every year, and it's some game nobody's ever heard of, but they're trying to get it in there. I don't
Mhm.
know who it is this year, but I bet there's one somewhere. If we went on Metacritic or something and looked it up coming, I bet there's one.
Man, I searched.
Got it.
If you can find it, please do.
Yeah.
Glenn-
You know what? Let me right now just take a look.
Because
while you talk.
for a big example, we have this day in gaming for December 23rd, the day this episode comes out, and there's a lot of games that came out in the United States on this day. I could only find one. The rest of them are out in Japan, which seems like it seems like it's a common occurrence. Like over in Japan, they don't care; they'll release it, Christmas Day if they want to. But over in the United States, not many games that came out that are like super notable. The only one I could find was Anime Girls VR for the PC.
Yeah. All right.
Happy second birthday, baby!
All right.
That is the one game I like. It was either that or I leave it blank and show a picture of a different, Pokemon saying they want to be cloaked by darkness. Maybe like the
Yeah.
gif of Giratina when it's trying to eat and it opens up its face mask to bite into it just to freak with people. Yeah. Any luck, Cam? Or
I can't right now quickly, unfortunately. Usually there's one. There might not be. That'd be weird, but
that'd be scary. Yeah.
usually there's some champion out there like we're gonna put it out on Christmas, and it's like Unicorn Adventure 5.
Sure.
Oh my god, that MOBA game, the Unicorn. Oh, what was it? It was like the side scroller. You had to avoid shit and jump around. And
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, Robot Unicorn Attack.
Robot
Mhm.
Unicorn Tech.
Yeah.
That game was fire.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
some
it
good
was.
stuff back in the yeah.
Love that game.
So if there's a game that you want to buy on Christmas Day, just get Robot Unicorn Attack. Just
There you go. It's
Good
pretty
choice.
good.
It's still playable somewhere.
game of the
Yeah.
decade. Right? That's what we
No.
agreed.
Listen,
That's-
we've done this
The
already.
Last of Us.
Okay.
When we talk about our games of the decade, there's a few options, right? We're going decade by decade.
60
I
seconds.
think. Okay, game of the decade 2000s, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, obviously. Game of the decade 2010s, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the Xbox 360, the port. Easy done, easy.
Why can't I tell if this is serious or a meme?
He's
would be-
totally memeing.
It would be game of the decade 1990s, but unfortunately, Sonic Adventure 2 for the Dreamcast didn't come out in the 90s. I was really close. Too bad, really.
Okay.
Seriously.
Then my game of the decade is Nier Automata. Then the
Yes.
the best game, clearly. And
Anthem for me, Anthem right here.
I
okay,
think
good.
there's a-
You
I
heard it
think
here
there's an
first.
objective answer to game of the decade. I've been working on this theory for a while.
Cool.
What's that?
Cam, where can we find you on Twitter? And you have another cool podcast that you also talk about video games.
I do, yeah. You can find me on Twitter at CamCollects. You can slide into my DMs anytime. It's no spaces there, easy peasy. You can also find my podcast Into the Video Game at ITVG Podcast, recently renamed there, the Twitter handle. It used to be Into the Video Gam without the E at the end because we ran out of space. But yeah. On that podcast, we mostly do news stories and industry analysis. We focus a lot on statistics and that sort of stuff. So we get really in deep about like predicting what future outcomes are going to happen in the
Are
industry.
you
pretty
getting
much.
nerdy about nerdy stuff?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Love
The
it.
deepest dive, yes.
Yeah, you should have seen me when the new Xbox got announced and like how that felt to me. I was just like we're here.
Okay, the way you
It
did that, it
looks
looked like
a
you were
PC,
twirling your
oh my
nipples or
God.
something.
No, that was me getting like
It's
vapors
just a
or
little
something.
PC.
Yeah, but you know what? It's historic. Where it was shown off, like the time period, the changing of the generations, that sort of the history of the industry stuff. That's the historic stuff right there. That's why I was like, yeah, when it happened. So hyped up
Nice.
for that.
Glenn, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch at Razeth, and actually just now I got my Elgato capture card, so I'm gonna start doing a playthrough of the Dragon Age series on my
Ooh.
Twitch channel soon.
Starting with the
Um,
second one.
Starting with Dragon Age Origins.
Okay.
Glenn,
But yeah,
Are you an affiliate
that?
or a partner?
yeah, I'm an affiliate.
Oh, nice. Me too. I just haven't done it in quite a while.
Yeah, same. Yeah, we're fellow affiliates.
Follow,
And then-
follow. But yeah, you can also find, it's Razeth, Razeth, and then Glenn Houston on Twitter. I'm trying to get, apparently soon they're trying to like cycle out unused Twitter accounts
Oh.
because there's one that's close enough to my Twitch name that I can't have that as my Twitch handle. But it last time I checked on it, it had been inactive for 4 or 5 years. So, and I messaged them and they're like, no, we won't do anything about it. I was like, and then, but I heard they're purging old unused accounts to save space on their server. So I might be able to
Yeah.
get the same one. Anyway, that's me.
I'm crossing my fingers on that because I used to stream and then moved and my internet wasn't good enough. But now I've moved back and I'm actually going to be moving to a house soon with my friends from the podcast. So I'm like hoping they
Ooh.
don't kill my stream by then. So I'm like, all right, then we can start again.
Good
Yeah.
deal, good deal. You can find me on Twitter at 2timestyler, all letters, one word. You can also find the show also at a new Twitter handle, CMQ Network, all one word. Apparently saying Master Quest Pod, it just seemed kind of silly. Then I discovered you can change it. Cam also discovered you can change it. And
Thank you.
I think the only thing you got to worry about is if you're verified and you change it, then you got to get re-verified. But since
Yeah.
we're not like super humongous names on the internet that require the distinguish us from other CMQ networks out there, we don't have to worry about that. So CMQ Network, and also email us at casualmasterquest@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook, also by typing Casual Master Quest. We have a Discord. Check us out. We are. You can find the link on the Twitter page. Just click on in the show description. Find it. Or sorry, podcast Twitter description. And lastly, we have a D&D podcast called Casual Quest Masters. If you're not listening to it, why aren't you? I mean, if you're not a D&D fan, you might still enjoy it. But if you are, what are you doing? No, jeez. The last word, I want to give a shout out to GameStop for being a piece of shit. Thank you. Cam's ready for this one.
Don't worry, they're dead in a year or two, dude.
Thank
Say
you.
what, they're done in a year or two?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
big bankruptcy on the way. Wait for it.
Oh, sad panda. I like
wanna
Geek, and they're owned by them, so.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I love the employees that I get to talk to at GameStop. They're great people, but GameStop themselves,
Yes.
especially with the website design, I want to say fuck you for getting my mom excited for getting her a Wii bundle, but not showing that you're sold out until after I tried to add it to the cart. Anyways, that was Glenn, that was Cam, this is Tyler, and that was episode 80 of Casual Master Quest. We will be taking a break next week. If you want to listen to a little bit of Casual Quest Masters to burn the time between, we will. Otherwise, we'll see you in January. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and don't forget to never stop the grind. We'll see you next week, guys. Just kidding. Next month, next year.
Next decade.
Bye-bye. Yeah, next decade. Jesus Christ. That's so far away. I pushed the wrong button. I don't know that button. How's that work?
That's what she said. Well, I think I'm out of practice.
I was gonna say, it's like, that's my nipple, you meant my clit, right?